Every purity seal, every honor badge, every scar and tattoo serves a specific purpose in Space Marine culture. They record achievements, mark rank, demonstrate devotion, and preserve the memory of battles fought and brothers lost. To the trained eye, a single glance at a Space Marine's armor can reveal their chapter, their rank, their specialization, their notable achievements, and even their personal faith and character. This system has evolved over 10,000 years of warfare, incorporating traditions from Terra, influences from individual Primarchs, and adaptations made by different chapters to suit their unique cultures and needs. What we see today is a rich tapestry of symbolism that connects every Space Marine to the broader history of the Adeptus Astartes while celebrating their individual service and sacrifice. Today we'll decode this complex visual language, exploring everything from the most common purity seals to the rarest honor markings, from chapter-specific traditions to universal symbols recognized throughout the Imperium. By the end of this guide, you'll be able to read a Space Marine's armor like a book, understanding the story of valor, faith, and brotherhood written across every plate and pauldron. Chapter markings, declaring allegiance. The primary heraldry. The most obvious adornments on any Space Marine's armor are their chapter markings, the colors, symbols, and heraldic devices that immediately identify their allegiance and heritage. These primary markings serve both practical and symbolic purposes, allowing for battlefield recognition while demonstrating pride in chapter traditions. Chapter badge. Usually displayed prominently on the left shoulder pauldron, the chapter badge is the most important identifier. Whether it's the Imperial Fist Gauntlet, the Blood Angel's Winged Blood Drop, or the Ultramarine's Omega, this symbol connects the Marine to 10,000 years of chapter history and tradition. Chapter colors. The primary armor colors follow ancient patterns established during the Great Crusade, though many chapters have evolved their schemes over the millennia. These colors often have deep symbolic meaning. The Salamander's green representing the volcanic world of Nocturne, the Imperial Fist's yellow honoring Rogel Dorn's preference, or the Raven Guard's black reflecting their stealth specialization. Company markings. The right knee pad typically displays company number and sometimes company symbol. This allows for easy identification of unit affiliation during large-scale operations where multiple companies might be deployed together. Successor chapter variations. Successor chapters often display modified versions of their parent chapter's heraldry, creating visual links to their genetic heritage while establishing their own identity. These variations can include quartered heraldry. Some successors split their primary heraldry between their own symbol and their parent chapter's badge, creating a visual representation of their lineage. Color variations. Successors might use different color schemes while maintaining the same basic symbolic elements as their founders. Additional elements. Many successor chapters add their own unique symbols or elements to distinguish themselves while honoring their origins. Rank and role indicators. Command hierarchy. Space Marine armor displays a complex system of rank indicators that allow for immediate recognition of command structure, even in the chaos of battle. Helmet colors. Many chapters use specific helmet colors to denote rank and role. Sergeants often wear helmets that contrast with their armor's primary color. Red helmets mark sergeants across many Codex-adherent chapters, while individual chapters develop their own variations over time. Crest and plumes. Higher-ranking officers frequently display elaborate crests, plumes, or other decorative elements on their helmets. These serve both to mark their status and to make them easily identifiable to their troops during combat. Shoulder decorations. Captains' pauldrons often feature additional decoration, whether through more elaborate chapter symbols, personal heraldry, or specialized rank indicators specific to their chapter's traditions. Command staff. Insignia. Officers may carry or display symbols of their office, iron halos for captains, the Crozius Arcanum for chaplains, or specialized equipment that marks their role within the chapter hierarchy. Specialist markings. Different battlefield roles within a Space Marine force are marked through specific adornments and color schemes. Veteran markings. Veterans often display additional honors, specialized helmet designs, or unique color schemes that set them apart from standard battle brothers. Stern Guard and Vanguard veterans frequently wear modified armor that reflects their elite status. Specialist colors. Many chapters use specific colors to denote battlefield specializations. Devastator squads might wear yellow trim. Assault Marines could display red accents, and tactical squads often show blue elements. Campaign badges. Specialized badges and markings indicate participation in specific campaigns or operations, creating a visual record of the Marine service history. Purity seals, symbols of faith and achievement. The sacred scrolls. Purity seals are among the most common and significant adornments on Space Marine armor. These sacred scrolls, blessed by chaplains and attached with red wax seals bearing chapter or imperial symbols, serve multiple important functions in Astartes culture. Spiritual protection. Each purity seal contains sacred texts, prayers, or litanies believed to provide spiritual protection against the corrupting influence of chaos. The very act of attaching a purity seal to armor is a ritual blessing that sanctifies the equipment for righteous use. Achievement markers. Specific purity seals may commemorate particular achievements, successful campaigns, notable acts of valor, or important milestones in a Marine service. These create a visual record of the warrior's accomplishments. Oath reminders. Some purity seals contain the text of specific oaths or vows taken by the Marine, serving as constant reminders of their sacred duties and commitments. Placement and significance. The location of purity seals on armor often has specific meaning. Chest placement. Seals placed over the heart often contain the most important or personal prayers, keeping sacred words close to the Marine's primary heart. Weapon blessing. Purity seals attached to weapons bless the armament for righteous combat and may contain prayers specific to the weapon's intended use. Armor joints. Seals placed at armor joints may contain protective wards or prayers for mobility and flexibility in combat. Multiple seals. Veterans and particularly devout Marines may accumulate dozens of purity seals over their service, creating a visual testament to their faith and experience. Honor badges and campaign markings. Service studs and skulls. Space Marines display their service record through various physical modifications and armor adornments that create a permanent record of their achievements and dedication. Service studs. Small metal studs implanted directly into the forehead mark decades or centuries of faithful service. These are typically made from silver, gold, or other precious metals, with the material sometimes indicating specific achievements or periods of service. Honor. Skulls. Skulls attached to armor or worn as decorations may commemorate specific victories, fallen enemies, or lost brothers. The type and placement of skulls often follow chapter-specific traditions and may have deep personal meaning for the individual Marine. Campaign badges. Specialized badges and insignia mark participation in specific campaigns, crusades, or battles of particular importance. These may be temporary additions for active campaigns or permanent markers of historical participation. Chapter-specific honors. Different chapters have developed their own unique systems for marking achievement and service. Blood Angels often display gems or precious stones as part of their noble aesthetic, incorporating blood drop imagery in various forms across their heraldry. Space Wolves use wolf tails, teeth, and other trophies that mark successful hunts and demonstrate their connection to Fenrisian tradition. Imperial Fists may display fortress or siege-related imagery that marks their role in major defensive actions or siege warfare. Salamanders often incorporate flame or forge imagery that connects them to their homeworld and their role as artisans as well as warriors. Scars and Tattoos, the Flesh Chronicles. Sacred Scarification. Many Space Marine chapters practice ritual scarification that serves both spiritual and practical purposes within their warrior culture. Ritual scars. Deliberately created scars may mark important transitions in a Marine's career, promotion to full Battle Brother status, completion of specific trials, or achievement of notable victories. Battle scars. Scars from actual combat are often left deliberately visible as marks of honor and experience. These tell the story of battles survived and enemies faced. Chapter traditions. Some chapters, like the Space Wolves or Salamanders, have specific scarification traditions that connect their warriors to chapter culture and homeworld customs. Tattoo traditions. Tattoos serve similar functions to scars but allow for more detailed and artistic expression of chapter loyalty and personal achievement. Chapter symbols. Tattoos of chapter badges, Primarch imagery, or sacred symbols demonstrate permanent commitment to chapter ideals. Kill markings. Some chapters use tattoos to mark specific types of enemies killed or battles won, creating a permanent record of combat achievement. Protective wards. Tattoos may incorporate protective symbols or sacred geometry believed to provide spiritual protection against chaos corruption. Cultural heritage. Chapters with strong homeworld traditions often incorporate tattoo styles and symbols from their recruiting populations. Weapon decorations and personalizations. Sacred armaments. Space Marine weapons are more than just tools of war. They are sacred relics that may carry their own history and significance, reflected in their decorations and modifications. Weapon blessings. Sacred symbols, purity seals, and ritual decorations bless weapons for righteous use and may provide spiritual protection against corruption. Kill markings. Many Marines mark their weapons with tallies or symbols representing enemies killed, creating a visible record of the weapon's service. Personal heraldry. Some Marines add personal symbols or decorations to their weapons, particularly those with special significance or long service records. Chapter traditions. Weapon decoration often follows chapter-specific traditions. Space Wolves might add wolf imagery, while Imperial Fists could incorporate fortress symbols. Relic weapons. Weapons passed down through chapter generations often accumulate elaborate decorations and modifications that tell the story of their use. Honor chains. Chains attached to weapons may carry small tokens or symbols representing the weapon's history and previous wielders. Inscription. Sacred texts, battle honors, or names of previous wielders may be inscribed on relic weapons. Decorative elements. Precious metals, gems, or artistic elements may be added to reflect the weapon's importance and honor its service. Chapter. Specific traditions. Blood Angels and Successors. The Blood Angels and their successor chapters have developed unique adornment traditions that reflect their noble heritage and constant struggle against the flaws in their gene seed. Death masks. The Sanguinary Guard wear elaborate golden death masks modeled after the face of Sanguinius, honoring their fallen Primarch and marking their status as the chapter's most exalted warriors. Angelic imagery. Wings, halos, and other angelic symbols are common decorations that reflect the chapter's aesthetic and their view of themselves as the Emperor's avenging angels. Blood drop. Symbols. The iconic blood drop appears in various forms throughout Blood Angel's heraldry, sometimes combined with wings or other symbolic elements. Artistic elements. The Blood Angel's appreciation for art and beauty is reflected in more elaborate and aesthetically pleasing armor decorations compared to more utilitarian chapters. Space Wolves. The Space Wolves maintain strong connections to their Fenrisian heritage through distinctive adornment traditions. Wolf pelts and trophies. Wolf pelts, teeth, and claws are common decorations that demonstrate prowess in hunting and connect the Marines to their chapter's totemic animal. Runic inscriptions. Fenrisian runes appear throughout Space Wolf armor and equipment, providing both decoration and perceived protective properties. Braided hair and beards. Unlike most chapters, Space Wolves often maintain long hair and beards that they braid and decorate with small tokens and trophies. Pack markings. Individual packs within the Space Wolves may have their own distinctive markings and traditions that supplement the broader chapter identity. Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fist's adornment traditions reflect their role as the Emperor's Praetorians and their specialization in siege warfare. Fortress imagery, fortifications, walls, and siege equipment frequently appear in Imperial Fist decorations, reflecting their tactical specialization. Yellow and black. The distinctive yellow armor with black trim creates one of the most recognizable color schemes in the Astartes, with specific patterns often indicating rank or role. Stoic aesthetics. Imperial Fist decorations tend toward the functional and austere, reflecting their chapter's character and priorities. Siege honors. Special markings may commemorate participation in notable siege actions or defensive campaigns. Dark Angels and the Unforgiven. The Dark Angels and their successor chapters maintain secretive traditions that reflect their hidden shame and quest for redemption. Robed elements. Many Dark Angels incorporate robes or robe-like elements into their armor, reflecting their monastic traditions and secretive nature. Hidden symbols. Some decorations may have hidden meanings known only to chapter members, particularly those related to the hunt for the fallen. Bone coloring. The Deathwing's bone-white armor is the chapter's most iconic color variation, marking the Inner Circle's elite Terminator squads and setting them apart visually from the dark green of the broader chapter. Hierarchical markings. The Dark Angel's complex internal hierarchy is reflected in subtle marking systems that indicate an individual's level of knowledge about chapter secrets. Chaplain and specialist markings. The Keepers of Faith. Chaplains occupy a unique position within Space Marine chapters, serving as both spiritual guides and enforcers of chapter discipline. Their distinctive markings reflect this dual role. Skull iconography. The distinctive skull helmets worn by chaplains serve both practical and symbolic purposes, emphasizing their role as living reminders of mortality and the Emperor's judgment. Black armor. Most chaplains wear black armor regardless of their chapter's primary colors, creating a universal visual identifier that transcends chapter boundaries. Crozius Arcanum. The chaplain's ritual weapon and symbol of office often features elaborate decoration and blessed elements that reflect its dual role as spiritual authority and instrument of the Emperor's will. Faith symbols. Chaplains often display additional religious iconography, including Aquilas, sacred texts, and chapter-specific spiritual symbols. Librarians and Psychers. Space Marine librarians display unique markings that reflect their psychic abilities and their role as keepers of chapter knowledge. Blue coloring. Most librarian armor incorporates blue elements regardless of chapter colors, creating a universal identifier for these psychic warriors. Psychic hoods. The distinctive psychic hoods worn by librarians serve both practical and symbolic purposes, focusing their powers while marking their status. Scholarly symbols. Books, scrolls, and other symbols of learning often appear in librarian decorations, reflecting their role as keepers of chapter knowledge. Warding symbols. Special protective symbols may be incorporated to guard against psychic backlash and chaos corruption. Apothecaries and Techmarines. Medical and technical specialists within Space Marine chapters display distinctive markings that reflect their specialized roles and training. Apothecary white. The white armor or armor elements worn by apothecaries create immediate battlefield recognition of their medical role and protected status. Medical symbols. The Narthesium Gauntlet and Reductor are the defining tools of the apothecary's role, used to administer aid and recover gene seed from fallen battle brothers. These instruments and associated medical iconography mark apothecaries as protected figures on the battlefield. Techmarine red. Techmarines often display red armor elements that reflect their training with the Adeptus Mechanicus and their role in maintaining chapter equipment. Mechanical augmentations. Techmarines frequently display obvious mechanical augmentations that demonstrate their integration with machine technology. Sacred relics and ancient honors. Chapter relics. Certain adornments and decorations represent connection to relics and artifacts of particular importance to chapter history and identity. Relic fragments. Small pieces of significant relics may be incorporated into armor or weapons, providing both blessing and connection to chapter heritage. Ancient symbols. Decorations that reproduce or reference ancient chapter symbols help maintain connection to the chapter's founding and early history. Primarch connections. Elements that connect the Marine to their Primarch or his teachings hold special significance and may be displayed prominently. Veteran honors. Long-serving Space Marines accumulate honors and decorations that mark their exceptional service and achievement. Terminator honors. Marines awarded the Crux Terminatus and qualified to wear Terminator armor often display special markings that indicate this elite status. Campaign veterans. Extensive campaign service may be marked through special badges, colors, or decorations that commemorate particular conflicts. Leadership roles. Former squad leaders, sergeants, or officers may retain certain markings that acknowledge their past service in leadership positions. Cross-chapter recognition. Some honors transcend individual chapter boundaries and represent recognition from the broader Imperium or Adeptus Astartes. Imperial honors. Decorations awarded by Imperial authorities represent recognition of service to the broader Imperium beyond chapter duties. Inquisition cooperation. Special markings may indicate cooperation with the Inquisition or other Imperial organizations, though these are often kept discreet. Cross-chapter service. Marines who have served alongside other chapters or in joint operations may display markings that commemorate these partnerships. Reading the warrior story. Decoding the visual language. Understanding the full meaning of Space Marine adornments requires knowledge of both universal symbols and chapter-specific traditions. A complete reading might reveal service history, the length and nature of the Marine service, including major campaigns and notable achievements. Rank and role, current position within chapter hierarchy and battlefield specialization. Chapter culture, connection to chapter traditions, homeworld customs, and Primarch heritage. Personal faith, individual devotion to the Emperor, chapter beliefs, and spiritual practices. Combat record, enemies faced, battles survived, and victories achieved throughout their career. The living history. Each Space Marine's adornments create a living history that continues to evolve throughout their service. New honors are added, old decorations gain additional meaning, and the visual story becomes increasingly complex as the Marine's career progresses. This system ensures that no achievement is forgotten, no sacrifice goes unmarked, and no brother's service fades from memory. The decorations serve as both personal motivation and chapter heritage, connecting each individual to the broader story of the Adeptus Astartes. Universal and unique. While certain elements remain consistent across all Space Marine chapters, purity seals, service studs, basic rank indicators, each chapter has developed its own unique traditions and variations that reflect their character and history. This balance between universal recognition and chapter distinctiveness allows for both practical battlefield identification and the preservation of unique cultural traditions that make each chapter special within the broader Astartes Brotherhood. Modern variations and evolution. Contemporary additions. The Space Marine adornment system continues to evolve as new campaigns are fought and new honors are established. Recent additions to the traditional system include Primaris integration. The introduction of Primaris Marines has led to some evolution in traditional marking systems, as new types of warriors are integrated into existing chapter structures. New campaign honors. Recent conflicts like the Indomitus Crusade have created new types of campaign markings and honors that supplement traditional decorations. Cross-Rubicon recognition. Marines who have crossed the Rubicon Primaris may display special markings that acknowledge this transformation and its significance. Conclusion. The armor tells all. A language written in faith and blood. Fellow lore seekers, as we conclude this comprehensive examination of Space Marine adornments and their meanings, we're left with a deep appreciation for the incredible complexity and richness of this visual language. Every element we've discussed, from the simplest purity seal to the most elaborate chapter-specific decoration, serves to connect each individual Space Marine to the vast tapestry of Astartes' history and tradition. These adornments are far more than mere decoration. They are a communication system that operates across language barriers, a record-keeping method that preserves individual and chapter achievement, and a spiritual practice that reinforces the sacred nature of the Space Marine calling. They represent 10,000 years of accumulated tradition, adaptation, and reverence for the warrior's craft. The sacred and the practical. Perhaps most remarkably, this system manages to serve both deeply practical and profoundly spiritual purposes simultaneously. The same markings that allow for immediate battlefield identification also serve as sacred talismans and personal reminders of duty. The decorations that record individual achievement also strengthen chapter bonds and preserve institutional memory. This dual nature reflects the Space Marine character itself, warriors who are simultaneously practical soldiers and devoted monks, individuals who serve both tactical and spiritual functions within the Imperium's defense. Their armor decorations mirror this complexity, creating meaning that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. A living tradition. The adornment traditions of the Space Marines demonstrate the living nature of Warhammer 40,000's culture. These are not static museum pieces, but active, evolving traditions that continue to grow and change as new generations of warriors add their own achievements and innovations to the existing framework. Each new Space Marine who earns his first purity seal, each veteran who adds a new honor marking, each chapter that develops a new tradition contributes to this ongoing story. The system remains vital because it continues to serve the needs of active warriors in an active universe. The Brotherhood made visible. Ultimately, the complex system of Space Marine adornment serves to make visible the invisible bonds that unite the Adeptus Astartes. These decorations create immediate recognition not just of rank and role, but of shared sacrifice, common purpose, and mutual respect that transcends chapter boundaries. When Space Marines from different chapters meet on the battlefield, their armor tells each other stories that need no words. Tales of campaigns survived, brothers lost, enemies defeated, and faith maintained through the darkest times. This visual language creates instant understanding and respect between warriors who might otherwise be strangers. In the grim darkness of the far future, where there is only war, the adornments on a Space Marine's armor serve as proof that even in the midst of endless conflict, honor, achievement, and brotherhood can be preserved and celebrated. They remind us that even the Emperor's Angels of Death remain in their way profoundly human in their need to mark achievement, preserve memory, and connect with something larger than themselves.